2016. I'm Ryan Panagos, aka Marvel's Agent M. What happened to the fanning?
I'm Tamara Krinsky. I got tired of the fanning.
Yeah, that's fair. We've got Joe Quesada, Chief Creative Officer. How's it going, Joe?
It's going okay.
How many
26.
You just...
I think it's 26.
26
Wow.
Comic-Cons.
26 Comic-Cons.
It's exactly the same as
In
it
a row.
was. 26 in a row.
In a row,
Okay.
nonstop.
I've done 10 in a row, so I'm
Amateur.
I'm lagging a little bit.
And the trick after 26 years?
Yeah.
Always stay hydrated.
This is 110% true. Water
Yes.
is crucial.
This is actually only my third, so I'm going to take that tip.
Yeah,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Yeah. So we're here. Marvel booth is as vibrant, as live, as crazy, as amazing as ever.
Yep.
And for us, for stuff that you're working with today, we've got a big panel for Marvel's Luke Cage.
We do.
That's exciting.
We do. It's going to be awesome. It's a lot of guest stars.
Yeah.
Lots of mayhem. We might show a couple of still black and white photos. Nothing major.
Just some real basic stuff to say to people, hey, we did this.
Will we have surprise guests? We might have. Yes.
Feels like that's a thing we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once in a while, people tend to show up.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Say
Yeah.
hello. Yeah.
Stragglers.
Stay tuned. Maybe you'll hear a bit about that. But tell us a little bit about Marvel's Luke Cage and what you do on the Marvel TV productions.
I'm one of the executive producers on the show, and I do everything from working on story, reading scripts, and collaborating with everybody, doing design work. Also working. We have a phenomenal new designer on our show, kid by the name of Joshua Shaw.
Shaw.
And he has a middle. It's like Joshua James Shaw. That whole middle name thing is it's like.
Overrated.
What is your middle name? I don't know if I've ever asked.
It's Luis.
Luis.
Yes.
Okay.
It's named after my grandfather.
What is your
I don't think I've
middle
ever
name?
said that publicly, but there you go.
Breaking news right
yes,
there.
Yes.
There you go.
I'm Philip. My middle name is Philip.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I'm Lee.
I'm sorry?
I'm Lee.
Lee, okay.
Lee. L-E-E.
The things
I
you
wish
guys
I could have been a
just
Lee.
learned.
A Lee would have been, that could be Joey Lee.
Joey Lee.
Yeah.
I got
Jolie.
Tamara Lee, Joey Lee.
Yeah.
It goes. It works.
But amazing designers, amazing people on production.
Yeah.
and-
So I work on just about everything, every part of the show. You know what I mean? So there's stuff people see or hear that I had a hand in, and you don't really know it. But that's the beauty about collaborating on shows like this. Is just that it's all sort of one hive mind.
Sure.
To put the stuff on there. So it's a.
Speaking of the hive mind, so I was talking with David Walker, who
Uh-huh.
is writing Iron Man.
I was just talking to him downstairs too.
Excellent. So you guys will see that later today
Yes.
at about 4. But when you've got a writer who's working on the books and then the show, talk about coordinating that a little bit, because there's so many different elements.
He could obviously bring a different insight to the books, because he's
Yeah.
privy to some of the stuff that's going to be happening on the show. But
Yeah.
again, but the other cool thing is that it allows him. One of the about comics, while it is a collaborative medium in the sense that there is a writer, artist, editor involved,
Yeah.
it also allows you to be to have a little bit more of a singular voice, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you work in a writer's room, it's you're a showrunner. And creating this sort of overall macro plot, and then
Yeah.
you work into that. And while there's a little bit of that in comic book writing, working for Marvel, you do get to express a lot more of your singular ideas, and it's just sort of you. And if you're writing, you and your artist interpreting those words, and your editor sort of just overseeing it and making sure that it's all copacetic at the end of the day.
Makes sense.
One of the things that I always find interesting is you're talking about sometimes you're singular, you're working by yourself as a comic book creator, but I see a lot of studios, it feels like more studios in the last couple of years, really great talents working together in like Portland or New York or wherever it is. Did you ever work with a studio space with a bunch of other collaborators?
The closest I ever came to that was actually when I first started in comics. I worked for Valiant, and Valiant worked very, very much like that. There was they had a bullpen. And the bullpenners were called knobs, which was really all of us.
Interesting.
Bob Layton would go around. Well, I call you knobs because I get to turn you this way and turn you that way, and we were all sitting there going, "Don't call us." It's so derogatory. But it was a great. It was a great learning experience. I learned a lot in those few months as a colorist by the pencilers that would come in to drop off work. And there were guys who were already working at Marvel and places like that. This is back when Valiant was doing Nintendo comics, even before the Valiant universe existed. And when pencilers would come in, I would ask them, hey, what are some of the pitfalls when you mention work? And I learned the important questions for me were always, what are the problem issues? What are the things to avoid? Because I always think that helps you cut to the chase a lot faster and get your work more streamlined when you're presenting it to an editor. So I learned a lot by just sitting there. And also there's something to working with other artists and being under deadline and pushing through and inspiring each other and people bringing in their own reference and stuff. You learn a lot that way. It really is a great environment. And it was a good mix of people too. So with the exception of being called a knob.
For the aspiring artists who are out there and who may be watching this, can you pass along one or two of those nuggets that you may have learned?
It's funny because some of those don't even apply anymore.
I know,
because
a lot's changed.
Because
the whole process is different.
so much of finding talent now is done digitally, right? It just comes to us. So bringing it to this digital age, the first thing I would advise young artists is, we're talking about artists right now, is don't send digital files because we're not going to open a strange digital file. But if you have a website, send a link. That's the best way to have an editor click the website and check it out. So that's number one. Number two, I used to teach a course in this on how to build the perfect portfolio.
Yeah.
One of the things to do is keep your portfolio short. The fact, I had kids used to show me like, hey, bring a stack of 50 pages. And in a lot of ways, it was a waste of time because by the time I get to the second page, I could tell whether they're ready or not, whether they're ready to be pro, whether they're ready to at least get some sample scripts from us, or whether they need a little more work, years more work, or maybe it ain't gonna happen.
So what is short? Is short 2 pages? Is it 5 pages? Is it?
My portfolio that got me hired kind of on the spot was 12 pages. Okay. It was three separate, it was three three-page stories, all pantomimes, no dialogue, right? Beginning, middle, and end. Very, very simple stories. And then I did 3 sample covers for each one of those stories.
Nice.
And the 3 stories, and back then, again, there was such a division between, people think that there's a difference between Marvel and DC now. There was a huge division back then where, and this is one of the things I found out, this is why I did this method. I remember talking to an artist, and he said that one of the frustrating things about your portfolio is you could bring a Spider-Man story and show it to somebody at DC, and they would say, this is great, but we really need to know what you can do with art. Which was insane to me, right? So like if Todd McFarlane at the time see with Spider-Man, this is what can you do with Superman, and they would send him away. So, and apparently the same thing was true at Marvel. Like they would show DC pages. So what I did was I created a 3-page story that was a Superman story, single character, a 3-page story that was an X-Men story to show what I could do with multiple characters, and Marvel and DC. And then the 3rd story was just a little vignette with 2 people drinking coffee. Right, and just sort of hanging out and conveying a story, so they could see what I could do, just plain old storytelling without superheroes. In case that's what came up.
I really want to take that, put it online, and have our fans come up with dialogue for it.
So I still have some of those pages. I've always been thinking about posting them. Those first, especially the Superman pages, just for the hell of it.
Yeah.
But maybe someday. So
that'd be amazing.
But that was, and then I ended up with a 12-page portfolio. I only spent as much time as I needed to spend on 12 pages as opposed to 50 pages, and my answer came right away. So the DC editor saw the first 3 pages of Superman story, never went any further, said you're hired.
That's incredible.
There you go.
That's a miracle story. Yeah. Well, I was going to ask before.
You're speechless.
I know. Because there's literally, we've known each other now for, I don't know, almost 15 years.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And so there's little bits and pieces here that I've never heard,
yes.
Which I love. I love being able to have these conversations.
I'm chock full of those.
You are.
Little bits and pieces.
See, that's why I'm here, because I'm newer, so I get to ask all these questions.
Well, you should have just said, I know that. Where have you been?
No, that's boring. I like to actually admit that I don't know stuff, so then I get to ask you it. Yeah.
We also have tomorrow, I believe, big Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. panel.
Yes.
Big Marvel television and the Marvel animation panel.
Mm-hmm.
So big stuff for both of those. We teased a little bit here in San Diego with the train wraps.
Yeah.
Which I think got a lot of people talking. It's
fire.
Exciting. A little fire, a little excitement.
Fire.
Yeah. That's pretty great. So guys, stay tuned for that. And I mean, is there a difference for you in how you approach what we're doing with the Netflix shows, what we're doing with the broadcast shows, or even what we're doing with animation?
You mean
In like how you look at them from an executive producer standpoint?
Well, you absolutely have to consider the audience of that network. You know, I mean, it's Netflix has a certain kind of expectation, a certain audience that they expect to come to this. So we have to gear our shows and our notes that we give on these shows to that expectation. The same thing with ABC, and absolutely the same thing with animation, right? So you know, the stuff we let fly on the Netflix shows just probably wouldn't get by at DXD.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
I mean,
No.
We should give it a whirl.
You know, maybe that Punisher fight scene right in the jail cell, right?
Oh man, I would love
Spoiler
to see
warning,
that animated in like Ultimate Spider-Man style.
Right.
With like the chibi
the bloodiest
Punisher.
fight in history. But also you got to mention Cup of Joe, man, on Saturday. Cup of Joe on Saturday. I posted this online, and
we put it up on the hub
Did you
page.
retweet me? Because dude, you don't retweet me anymore.
I did. I put it up on the
He's got too many followers. I'm beneath his gaze.
I featured it on the Comic-Con Hub, so anyone who's watching this should be able to see it. It's the Twitter link to your Tumblr post.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so we're going to actually be showing a surprise trailer to a surprise show that we've been working on. It is live action, and I will say no more. But yeah, we're going to be doing that, and actually, if what time is it?
12:41.
Okay,
12:41.
If Richard Isanoff is done coloring it, I'll show. I'll premiere one of the latest cover I'm working on. Not like I do a lot, but a little Star Wars related thing. So
amazing.
We'll see.
Yeah. Well,
we've got a fan question or two. Adam Kirkwood, who is going to be the first hero to die in Infinity War prediction? He wants Infinity War predictions.
No spoilers. Sorry. We're going to stay away.
And we actually have a bunch of people asking you, Team Iron Man or Team Cap?
I'm Team Iron Man.
How come?
Boom.
Huh?
How come?
Oh, I have my reasons. I don't want to get into it, but I am a Team Iron Man. You know, I think I was with Cap for a while during the movie, but there comes a point where, I think he chose the wrong friend. That's me. That's me.
I like
there
that.
you go.
That's a good point to finish on. Joe, where are fans going to find you on social media, on your Tumblr, Twitter?
Tumblr, Joe Quesada on Twitter, Joe Quesada on Facebook. I think it's written on some of the bathroom walls here, that kind of stuff. So look for me, find me, and I'm a Pokemon too. I don't know if you know that. I'm a very rare Pokemon. So you got to go catch them all. Catch Joe. We'll be right back. We've got Claire Kramer coming up just in a second.